Yeah, caffeine and cupcakes. Come and get a little taste. I like to listen to it on my break. People been talking, I must say. We keep it real when we show up. Gotta do it for the culture. You should come and get to know us, cause we really taking over. The conversation, we keep it authentic. No holding back and we never pretending. Let's get it started. Only good energy is what we bringing. You know that I'm with it. Hey, pour another shot of coffee. Get the cupcake like that. Caffeine and cupcakes. You were checking out the podcast. Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 3. Well, that's not even how you count, but I guess we're gonna start like that anyway.
That's right.
Hey everybody, this is Alvena. We're back with another episode. I think we're on episode 4 now. This is Alvena with Caffeine and Cupcakes, and we have our host, Edward Newbins, and joining us this evening, we also have Jazz Scott. She's coming in live, unscripted, and ready to talk about some things. Not quite sure exactly what we're going to talk about, but we want to talk about this COVID, these masks. And Jazz is representing a few different intersections of things. She's brown, she's in tech, she's a female, she's also lesbian as well. So she all kind of BIPOC in this here populations of the areas.
Hey, one second, y'all. Just want to say one thing because we have a person on. We're doing a TikTok live also, and so I want to welcome back Miss Red Rose from Philly. She's on here. What I'm gonna do is actually take my headset off. Maybe she can watch us and hear us at the same time. So I'm gonna see if my mic sounds great on the iPad. So
okay.
How's that, guys?
Yeah, we're trying out a few things on this here episode. This is the first time we're bringing on a guest onto Zoom. Also, Edward is live on TikTok, with some folks. We haven't figured out how to all be live on TikTok at the same time. Right. I don't know, Jazz, if you know how we do that. But we're gonna try to figure out a few different things.
I'll check it out for you next time.
Thank you.
So can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me okay with the iPad mic?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's not as good.
Oh,
what if you put it around your head? I don't know. Just put it up there. Yeah, and use that mic still.
Well, I was trying to do so she could hear it too, but I guess maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you guys can't hear me that well. I guess I'll just. Well, let me see. You said it's not that good.
I can hear you. It's fine.
Is it only decent or?
It's just regular.
He doesn't have that mic boom on it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put the mic back on. Sorry, I try to get you so you can hear everything too, but we're gonna keep on doing the show. But you'll be able to see.
Well, you can ask questions. So
yeah, you can ask questions. So if you want to ask questions about what we're doing, you can do that. We'll add them on to the show, and so you'll be able to see it. We'll put it on our what am I trying to say, on our YouTube channel. So I'm gonna plug this back in so we have a good mic.
Edward always trying something.
Yeah, I was trying to new stuff.
This is what we do for like 5 hours and then we record for 30 minutes.
All right, there we go. All right then. All right, so Miss Alvena, go ahead, sister.
Back. Okay, so Jazz, we've been friends for a while, but also like you do some important things out here in the community, and I know you're into like the computer things. What do you do in computers? Because I don't know anything about it, but Edward, he's into technology. Like I'm trying to learn things. Like what is it that you do? Who are you?
What is it that I do? Basically, I guess to break it down, like layman terms, I like to use the analogy of building houses, but in the web. So somebody, comes to us, usually like a large client, they need like a rebrand. For instance, I can't say anything because of NDA, so hold on.
But compliance.
Yeah, we got clients.
Comply with the rules.
And they need, to be rebranded. And usually that involves doing a facelift on their website if they already have one, and if they don't have one, then we create one from scratch. And usually what that involves is we work with the team. So we have like strategists, designers, and developers. Strategists are like your people who they do all like the numbers and stuff to figure out like what brings people to your website, what like where do people click when they come to your website, and like how should that like flow work? So if somebody lands on your website and they see your homepage, where do most people usually go after your homepage? And they try to like figure out what's the best direction of flow to like actually get people where you want within your site. Okay. And then we work with a team of designers who usually like, you know, they're doing like copy, the photos, the color schemes, putting it all together like that. And then where I work in that team is I'm a developer and I'm full stack. So that means I do like front end and back end. On the back end, that's usually setting up the servers, databases, all the stuff that you don't see of how users are able to hit the website. So it's like most people have no idea that's even happening in the back. And then the front end side, it's like when you actually go to the website, it's what you see.
Okay. So, I looked at the back of a website once before when I had a website and I tried to learn. I'm like, okay, this is it's a learning curve for sure. So I'm glad we got people like you to go hire. You know, I know I can't afford, you know, it's out of my pay range, but you know, because I know you work with the big dogs.
But so even taking a little step further, like some of the work that I've been going towards is more of like a software architecture situation, and that's like usually strictly back end, and that's like how do you get, for instance, like we you know we're streaming from TikTok, but it's like how do you get TikTok to show up on an iPhone, or how do you get TikTok to show up on an Android? Like it's the same app and it has the same users, but how do you get it to communicate across these different devices? And so that's more of a systems architecture kind of thing, and how you get all these systems to come together and be able to utilize one another.
Now I appreciate that too, because I used to be in tech. I mean, I'm always around tech. I was like, my mom worked at Hewlett Packard back in the 80s, like 20 some years. So I was like the little kid that'd be at the office all day. Well, my mom was like the sales side. So her clients were like Microsoft. She has a crazy story. Like she actually, Hewlett Packard's loaned out the servers to Amazon back in the days when Amazon didn't have no money, you know. And I was like, dang, Mom, you should have put $100 in there, something. But I never understood that I was actually in tech. I was just born into it. So I was programming when I was a young kid on Basic 2.0. So I'm dating how old I am.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, Commodore 28. We did our own video games. But then as time went on, I worked at Nintendo doing, had an internship, stuff like that. I've always been around tech. I always appreciate. I got nothing but tech in the house. But I never considered I didn't know all the opportunities in tech until when I was a kid. I didn't know. As I got older, I went to University of Washington and got the information systems degree. Never was a strong programmer, but I was more like when you said systems architect, that's more in my lane too. And so I'm kind of going backwards. I was working at the federal government for years, but I'm studying to go back into more cybersecurity stuff. I'm really good at data analytics, and so I'm trying to kind of go down that path, especially since I know that's a trend. And it's a great opportunity for people that are not in tech to get, to jump in there. One question I have for you though, being a woman in tech, I know there's not that many, and doing what you're doing. I remember I had a friend, he graduated computer science at UW. There was only like 4 or 5 people at UW in computer science, and only 4 or 5 that were Black actually. And I think most of them were men. So I don't see that many women in tech. I know I have friends in tech at Amazon and Microsoft, stuff like that, but it's very rare that I come across programmers. I have a friend that is a programmer too, but not that many. I can count on one hand.
That is true. I remember going to school too. I think there was 4 of us in the whole tech class, I guess you would call it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's definitely like always been the boys' club. Right. And I think it's like one of those things that you have to break the walls down, just like with anything else. I'd also say, like, right now I'm pretty fortunate. The company that I actually work for, I mean, I've probably worked with more women in tech than I probably would have had I took a job with Microsoft or someone or Google or any of those, you know.
Okay.
But just on like my personal beliefs, you know, those jobs are cool, but I don't like being like the workhorse in the big churning business. I like working for smaller companies because you get to dabble in a lot more, I feel like. So yeah, I do hear you. There's always that like, oh, if I change jobs, you know, it's not gonna stay like this, or
Right.
so I have been fortunate enough, like I work with several women developers, but yeah, if I were to, you know, change jobs, that might not be the case at all.
Yeah.
Can I ask you? Oh, my fault, Alvena.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, what would you all say to a young person who is Black and wants to get into tech and who's not sure? They're just like, you know, like my son, he's in seventh grade and he's looking at career options and, you know, different things like that in tech. What advice would you give to like a younger self if you had it to do again, or if you, you know, like what would you do different if you had to do it again, or like what do they need to know? What do the young folks need to know? Young Black folks hidden in tech.
Yeah, I would say there's definitely programs for that, especially if you know that your kid being young is into tech and they're probably going to land a job somewhere doing that because that's their passion, and you can tell early on. I would, you know, promote putting them into those programs. A lot of times within the community, you know, they'll hold BIPOC STEM. What am I trying to say? Like not necessarily courses, but you know, where they
little
what do they
groups and
call
programs
us?
and stuff for coding.
Yeah, the little programs.
Code,
Yeah.
code
And keeping
and
those
things like that.
yeah, and keeping those people like in your network, especially like once you're like in like your senior year high school, you know, if you want to just because I would say to be in tech, you don't necessarily have to go to school. What you have to do is be able to prove that you can do the job. And so a lot of things have changed, I would say, within like the last 5 years. Is like you can go to code school and learn a specific set for a third of the price as it would to go to, you know, get your bachelor's in computer science or something. So I think it's all about like, I think your preference and the route that you want to take. But at the end of the day, keeping that network and trying to find those programs that are built for BIPOC.
Yeah, I had a friend that she moved from Florida up to here, took a 6-week course, I think it was through Ada is a program. And I think it's geared towards women because there's another friend of mine that I just saw recently and she mentioned that program too. And so, you know, for one of my friends, both of them, she came from like makeup. She was doing fashion stuff and transitioned over to that. And so she said it was difficult at first, but she's been in it now for 2 years. And when she was doing her interview, she's at T-Mobile now, but she was getting interviews through like Google, Blue Origin. So she was getting the interviews at the top companies, and she didn't have that background. She just, like you said, went through the coding type of camps. And she said it was really hard though, but she said for her, there was a lot of support though. So it helped her.
Yeah, it's definitely challenging. And I mean, even finding a job in tech, like it's not the same as like, you know, you go find a job in like accounting, I guess. Like accounting, they probably just ask you the general questions and they might ask you what this or that means. But when you go get a job in tech, like they're like, show me that you can do this. So like you'll do pair programming. You could whiteboard, basically where you have to, in the interview, you have to write solutions like on a whiteboard with no, you know, IDE to help you out. So I feel like their interview process is so rigorous that if you can prove that you can do the job, nobody really cares if you necessarily have, you know, a bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And
so that sounds like a
tech,
benefit.
yeah, and tech is booming right now. Like supposedly there's not enough workers in tech for all the jobs that need to be filled.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that too. That's part of the reason why our last couple of episodes I've been trying to emphasize for people that are not in tech that cybersecurity is so vast and so many opportunities for people to get in, and you don't have to be a tech person to understand that, or even data analytics. It's like if you're a social worker, one of my friends is a social worker, I'm like, your organization brings in a lot of data. If you're able to help them understand how to do, navigate through that to make decisions, you literally could have your own company working with the same group that you were working for a lot less money. Now you can charge a lot more money with your own business. And I, for example, I actually started a data analytics company, got a contract right off the gate, and for me, it was just like, I already had that background, but I had to get more in tune with like Tableau and Power BI because I didn't have those tool sets I wasn't using. I was using basic Excel stuff. But it wasn't that difficult. There's so many YouTube channels now you can learn from people on YouTube just to get that information. So
true. Yeah, everything's on the web now.
Right. I just like the idea of not having that big old bill after you're done with the education piece. Like that bill is what hits different when, I basically have a house on my head, but I don't have a real house to be inside. Like I got, I can rent something, but my debt is astronomical.
True. I mean, and one other thing I wish, especially our community would take more advantage of is junior and senior year. Our kids should be, I feel like our kids should be at the community college because those first 2 years, if you can take them during your last 2 years of high school, are free.
Right.
And I think we miss that is an opportunity. And a lot of the times I feel like that opportunity isn't even presented to us.
No, it's not. I didn't find out until I graduated that I didn't have to be at school for like the last year and a half.
Exactly.
I had enough credits.
Yeah. And you could have spent that year and a half at a community college. Easily. And by the time you graduated high school, almost had your associates.
Yep. Right. Yep. Yeah. Plus I didn't really want to go to college, to tell the truth. That struggled. I had a basketball scholarship and I gave it up because I just didn't want to be where I was at. But even going to school, I had no purpose. Like, why am I here? It took me 3 years of going back and forth to figure out, all right, you know what? I'm going to take it a little more serious and go down a path. But really what got me to really be more serious is I got a chance to go into Inroads. Inroads is like an internship program. When I got to University of Washington, it's really big on the East Coast, but it gave me access to corporate America. And so I could understand, okay, I'm going to school for a reason, not just to be taking classes. There's something that I'm learning that I can apply to something versus I'm just taking some classes for whatever reason. And nobody's telling me how this actually translates into the real world. So
yeah, that's a good point as well.
Yeah, we do got the programs like the running starts and you could skip grades. And I mean, I feel like a lot of our kids are advanced. So if, we recognize that, like my son just started 7th grade today, but he's advanced and he has a bunch of classes with the 8th graders. I'm like, well, after he's done with 7th grade and he goes to 8th grade, what else does the middle school have to offer for him if it only goes up to 8th grade? I'm like, so what are he gonna do then?
He's going to high school next year, huh?
I mean, I'm like, this is outrageous. I got to figure out more. And we're in a small town, so that definitely makes me want to hit, closer to the city so that there's more opportunities for him to be involved in extracurriculars as well and get into some of those programs that are catered towards our youth. Like, he's like, even he cracked me up. He's like, I want to learn how to cook. They don't show us how to cook the food. They only show us how to grow the animal. I'm like, okay. So like it's definitely important to oftentimes get closer to the metropolitan areas as well so that you could have more opportunities. Otherwise, I'm looking up people like Edward who's, going to start the online program to teach kids how to do the things and, I'm just like, grabbing for what might be out there. So, but I do like the idea that he will come out without all that debt and he'll be able to make his money quicker. Like by 19, he'll be able to buy me something.
That's true though. It's true, man. These kids are making big dough now. You have the right skill set. Coming straight out of high school or in high school. Okay.
I got a question about, it's kind of around tech, but it's also around COVID in a way. You know, a lot of people are losing jobs. I mean, you go to any downtown place, retail's decimated. Anybody that has to work in an environment where deals with customers in general, they're closing doors. How is the tech industry being affected? Is it being affected at all, or is it still booming, or how's that look?
I mean, I'd say like everything's being affected. There's a lot of, I would say, people in tech who've probably closed their doors. Obviously not your bigger companies. It's definitely going to be like a small company issue. Like if you were in the process of starting up in, 2019, you didn't really get a run and go before we all went down for lockdown. But overall, I think overall, tech also boomed just because of the need for all of these online resources, right? Yeah. So you have all these people at home, you got kids at home using these new resources, you got teachers using new resources, everybody who went remote using new resources. So I think it's changed, but I mean, what am I trying to say here? I definitely feel like it's changed. And it's kind of one of those things like in tech, you kind of have to ride the wave. Like nothing in tech, like in a year from now, it could be pretty much different. Like that's one thing about the tech aspect. Like I like working in tech is that you're not going to be doing the exact same thing in 5 years because it's always evolving.
That was the hard part for me when I first got into tech, like when I came out of college. I came out of college in 2000. So the .com was just like, man, it was just like, yeah. So I come out of school the worst times every single time. I worked for this company called Globix in New York. They were really one of the first companies that did this whole cloud computing. It was called co-location back in the days. And it's crazy because I missed out. Like I was supposed to be making $1 million when I came out of college. Literally, I had different contracts and everything fell apart. And then I'm watching like Amazon basically take the reins of what was started way back then. And now obviously it's blown up. And so I'm like, man, I missed my boat, but I'm trying to get back into it now. But I see it from the standpoint, it is changing so much, especially back then, that in a way, it was almost like you had to be used to the chaos and be okay with it. When I was working in it, it was like they were just starting to do a lot of contract jobs instead of being full-time stuff. A lot of outsourcing was going on. That was a little unnerving for me coming from the mindset of you come out of school, you get a job, you work there, you do whatever. And then all of a sudden the tech world was like, yeah, you could be here. We're going to let you guys go. Now you can come back as a V dash or whatever dash at Microsoft. And you're thinking that you're going to be there for a year. Then they cut the contract down to 3 months. You're like, wait a second. And then you got to go back into try to get another contract. So that for me, it was really difficult going through that transition. I think maybe it's changed now because people are used to it. But it was a little unnerving when I first got into it.
Yeah, I feel like the contracts they're still heavy. Like, we call them freelancers now.
Oh, they switched it up.
Freelancers. Yeah. So we have a lot, at our company. And I don't know if it's either like, it's a way for a company to, test somebody out, or if it's like, or it's probably a mixture. So it's like companies use them because they need somebody who's an expert in something really quick. You don't have all day to interview. So you go get a freelancer, you test them out, and you didn't lose all that money onboarding them. Right.
True.
And then it's also like now, I think freelance might, take off a little bit more because of this whole remote situation. Like so many people have quit recently, just, in my company alone. And they're like, well,
you guys are hiring? What?
Yeah, we are. Always
everybody went entrepreneur. Everybody went entrepreneur.
Yeah, so it's like, everybody's like, oh well, I don't have to stay in Portland,
right?
So
Peace
you know,
out.
I'm gonna go and try this. I'm gonna go try this, and it's just like these other opportunities have opened up. But it's like that thing, you know.
Though.
You have to be able to move with change. If you're the kind of person that doesn't like change, then don't do tech.
Yeah, I think I'm more open to it.
Sounds like a game. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for people who are into a game and they like to level up and try something new. They like to have a challenge. I mean, a lot of people are like that, and you know, you just want to continue to grow and not be stagnant. Then, I mean, it sounds like that might be the type of game that you play.
Yeah.
You know, if you're geared towards technology, but for the most part, I would say. Even me, I had to switch up a little bit because I was used to the idea. I went through all of my education and whatnot, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna be in the office forever. I need to, you know, have overhead, pay for this, like have this cute little space, you know, with the couch and the chairs and all that there type stuff." But then, boom, oh, okay. Like I'm just straight up online. I mean, I can go in an office, but with these variants and things, it's not even really too much on my radar, but I still have to make sure that I'm keeping up with a bunch of things and making sure my technology is on point and seeing who I could serve via technology, because that's definitely changed up for me. But I'm also still needing to network and see what else is out here and available, especially I'm in a whole new territory. So I have to discover so that I can stay up on things because anything can change. So you got to always, you know, make sure you can do what you can do. But what would you say? What's the advice you would give to just a user? I heard that I'm just a user when it comes to this technology, which makes me feel like a bad person. Like you don't just be using people, you just be using.
Right.
Hey,
user.
As long as you're using, everybody with a job is happy. Because it's true. If you're not using, I don't have a job. You know.
Oh. Okay, so just keep being a user.
Get everybody hooked. That's a new drug game. Get everybody
hooked. Stay online. Just, you know, when you go to sleep, leave it up.
Oh, dang. Oh,
yeah. I mean, I think you know, United States is a consumer nation. So
yeah. I mean, I feel like I should also like learn to code a little bit so I can at least make my own websites and. You know, then ask you for advice.
So
right, yeah.
Sorry, I was talking to folks on TikTok too.
Hi TikTok people.
Hello, welcome.
We're doing a live. Thank you for joining us. We're just trying to practice on some new things. You know, get everybody incorporated what we're doing and try new things. Like you said, tech. Try out new different platforms. I was able to participate in a TikTok live on random. I never seen this guy before. I ended up staying up for 4 hours taking hella notes. It's like the best class I've ever had. And I was telling Alvena, like the amount of information I got from that, like he didn't even charge nobody nothing. And at the end of it, the ask was like a $7 thing. I'm like, dude, come on, man, that ain't nothing for the amount of information he gave to us. But he gave so much insight, and he was a Black dude too. So much insight on branding and how we should be using tech a little bit better. You know, it doesn't matter what platform you're in, like you're in tech, and you know, anybody, whatever you're doing, like, are you branding your name? Because you have valuable resources. Even if you work in your environment, what happens when you leave that environment? Do you have the name or expertise that you've capitalized on to where, you know, do you have a course for people to learn about tech, or do you have a podcast where you talk about a woman in tech? There's not that many Black women in your field. Just like there's not that many Black women in Alvena's field. So we were like, when I talked to her about it, I was like, that's an asset that you can monetize basically. And so it's kind of like, I feel as Black people, we consume a lot of tech. We are the originators of tech. And I think we forget that, like where everything really started from. But I don't see us participating as much as we could, especially as creative we are. We're super creative. We're entrepreneurial by nature. But I don't think we harness that energy right now to the point of, yo, let's all come together, talk about what's going on out here and start strategizing to build our businesses. Every time I talk to Alvena, I'm like, yo, it's about trademarking, intellectual property. If you don't own that, you don't own anything. And if you don't understand the tech that's out there, then you don't even have a business either.
That's a good point.
So
Are you starting something, Jazz?
No, I have not.
that's okay. I was thinking about you when I heard you talking. I was like, aha.
Yeah, no, I have not. I know. I feel like, well, for me personally, a big, I guess, what do you call that? What's the syndrome?
The
Impostor syndrome.
Impostor syndrome. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
A lot of it, yeah, I guess it's on like picking what would I do, you know. But I think at the same time, and finding what you'll do is just doing a bunch of random stuff until one calls you, you know.
What do you like doing though?
I like coding.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I try to make websites for people, and then I realized, you know, I'm not a designer. So normally, like, that's why I kind of like where I'm at. I like I'm comfortable, I guess you could say, because I kind of, it's already strategized, it's already designed. So all I got to do is go in and think like how I'm going to implement this. And when I did try to make a website, it was like, okay, I had to wear like 3 hats.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're on a team.
And so I got overwhelmed by that whole process.
So being on a team, you just get to stay in your own lane and have other people who assist. I mean, I think that's another thing we talk about as well. It's just like the idea of having enough people on your team. Some people just try to do it all alone, and like you might have some of the skill sets. You might be real powerful and strong at some things, and that's your lane, that's your specialty. And then you have to have other people to fill in those gaps in order to really be successful. But of course, you know, in the Black community, like, we got to learn to work together better and synergize better and make sure that, you know, we do that because we don't do it enough.
Yeah, and even to that point, like when I tried to do the website, like I kind of priced it as just one person working, but I didn't realize that, hey, I have to like plan. So I'm planning like our communication. I'm planning our meetings. So I'm technically like producing this project. Now I'm strategizing like how we need to like lay out your website. Then I'm like helping you with copy and gathering images and you know, the placement of it. And I haven't even started, you know, doing any development work yet. Dang. So it's like, I mean, at that point, I felt like I was a 5-man team getting paid for one person.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just like
know your price.
Those lessons,
up your price.
Yeah. Just know, but it's like when you go into it and you're just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try this because, you know, I'm passionate about this. And then I mean, it was a good experience. Look what I've learned. But man, when I was in it, I couldn't wait for it to be over.
Yeah, I do that with media. I found myself doing media projects where I'm literally like, there's one thing I did. It was called Living Your Life Like It's Golden. It was an all women's conference. 4 ladies were speaking. It was probably about 100, 150 people there. I brought my mom along to be like the vendor for my clothing line stuff. So she did a little manning the table thing. And I literally was like, I filmed it. I was running around doing interviews. I was in a suit, sweating like a dog. And then my friend asked me to introduce her. I'm like, wait a second, what? And then so I had to put the camera down on one angle while I go introduce her and then come back to the camera later on. It was like my head was spinning. But what I got out of that, and I think I was volunteering on that one too. So that was another thing. I wasn't even paying myself. But taking all those different jobs on, it did give me appreciation of like the team part of it. Like I couldn't do the best job I really could do. I made a lot of mistakes when I was doing it because I was running around too much. But then as time went on, I talked to somebody and I saw a contract where this group, I think it was a 3-man group, got paid $60,000 to do something with the Washington State fishery stuff. And I'm sitting here like they literally were interviewing some people and talking to some people about the stream. And that was it. It was like a 10-minute video. And I was like, yo, how much? Because I could have did that on my phone. And I started realizing, see, we don't price our point. We don't price ourselves accordingly. We do things on the level of like, we devalue ourselves to a level of like, oh yeah, that's about $10,000 or $5,000. A client doesn't really value that if they're not paying a certain price because they think it's too cheap. You know, nobody buys a BMW for $5,000. Nobody even wants it. You're like, nah, I'm good. Because you just think like, it must be something wrong with it. Yeah. Gotta be something wrong with it, man. I don't want that. You put $100,000 on it, people are like, yeah, that's dope. That's gotta be hella good. And it probably break down just as quick. You know, my little 4Runner got 200,000 miles on it. It ain't no BMW, but it lasts forever. It's not, but nobody's gonna look at it like, oh, that's a hot car. They're like, whatever. Anyways, I don't care.
Well, I mean, that's when you get into the things of making sure that your business entity, like you were talking about, is situated and straight so that you can also sign up for things like the grants and the monies that you can get for being a minority, Black or female-owned business. And now you have money that you can hire people and you can get interns to do some work and help out with the extra stuff that you can't do all on your own. And then that way everybody's getting paid and you're able to really, you know, have some momentum that way, because otherwise you're still working your full-time job and also trying to build your business at the same time. Yeah. It's an easy burnout situation. Definitely. I've been there too with my body by Alvena. That's why now it's more exclusive.
I got something so I want to add something that I learned, and this is probably for all the viewers too. I got it for free, so I don't mind giving it out for free. It's not like I got the secrets or anything like that. The gentleman that I was listening to, he made a good point about, and I thought about you, Alvena, specifically, because you do have a product line of your own. However, there's not everybody wants your product line. They don't need it, or they're looking for something different. Okay, let's use you as an example. So if we had your product line, I got the body butter, and I'm doing some other stuff, maybe my face and my beard. However, maybe I need something else for my skin, but you don't sell that. Affiliate marketing is something that you could have been doing as far as having your website. You provide value because you talk about skincare stuff. You talk about the necessity of certain things, but you don't produce everything. You do have your own product line listed there, but then you go ahead and have all these affiliated programs that you're connected with that you can list their products on. Now you're making maybe say like 10 to 20% off the commission because you're sending people their way. But he was explaining like there's so much money on the table that we miss out on because a lot of times we like to be the chiefs. And we want to be, it's not so much that we do it on purpose. It's like we started something, we want to be known for what we started, and we think that's it. But the reality is you could be known for that, but you can provide more value if you're able to collect more resources for people to buy. And because they have the affiliate programs, now you're getting paid to, it's like having a store. Amazon don't make all that stuff. They get a percentage of sales that are on there. Same thing with us. We just don't take the opportunity to realize there's so many affiliate programs out there. So he listed out like 8 of them that he uses specifically. So I haven't gone through all of myself. But I was like, yeah, we're missing a whole bunch of money on the table. And we don't have to produce everything.
I mean, I definitely hear that and I receive that because I've sold a lot of products for people that I don't sell and I didn't get any commission. And I wasn't even trying to sell them. I was just saying, hey, I use this on my skin. I use this on my nails. I use this because, like you said, Body by Alvena is one step in your hair and skin routine. You do need all these other things, and I do education and consult about those things as well. And you know, I'll be like, they'll be like, oh, where did I get that from? I'm like, well, hit up, you know, my homie, whoever who does sell that. And they're like, hey, do you want to be an affiliate? I'm like, nah, not right now. All right, I missed out on a bunch of money. Yeah.
And even the education part of it, like what you just mentioned, and what you mentioned too, like you do coding. I got a lot of Black females I know here in Seattle that would like to know a Black female coder because it gives them at least a support system because there's not many in the first place. And then see you doing it, it's like, oh wait, I can do that too. Okay, yeah, it might be difficult, but at least I know there's somebody else that looks like me in it. I think that's probably when you go back to schooling, that's what holds a lot of us back. And I know the numbers on females and Black girls in coding is really low, or any math skills. Once they get to a certain point, I think it's 4th or 5th grade, it gets diverted because there's nobody really supporting them, and so they kind of get discouraged. And I think that's by design.
There's no representation.
Yeah, exactly. So just if you're like, for example, your profile, the bigger your profile gets, the more young girls can look at that as an opportunity for them, versus being like, yo, I don't see nobody looking like me in it, so it must not be for me, you know, that type of thing. So that's a charge that I put to, you know, when I talk to Alvena and my other friends, And I've done a lot of work with Black female entrepreneurs in general. And one of the things I noticed is that you guys be hella dope and hella smart, but you guys don't want to put your face out there. You don't want to put your voice out there. Like I know why, because I've been part of the seminars and stuff like that. But I think there's opportunity, especially with tech now. The phone, you could be anywhere you want now. That I think a lot more Black females should do that, because there's a lot of power in that, and there's a lot of money in it for yourself. Also, if you build the platform.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is appealing. I mean, and then you also have to have the passion and the drive and the motivation, all kinds of stuff to really get it done. But also just getting started, like you got to crawl before you walk. And I think that's the part is usually the most difficult, is just starting.
I'll partner with y'all.
That's
how my thought process is, because I think about a lot of ideas, but it's like, y'all can't do all the things that are in my head. There's no way. I literally got like 5 other podcasts in my head, but I can't be in every single one. I'll be like P. Diddy. I'll be in everything. Dancing around all the time. So
yeah, I think in Seattle, don't they have like Black Women Code or Black Girls Code?
Black in Tech, Black Women in Tech. Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. They do.
So there's some different groups. I guess you just have to search, and then seeking ye shall find type of situation. And like we found Jazz, and Jazz can tell us about that as well. But I mean, definitely can relate as well with the higher education situation. Like most of the time, I was the only one in the room who looked like me, and nobody in the books looked like me. Nobody who nothing on the exams was looking like me.
Alvena didn't have 12 watermelon.
Right. No.
Sigmund Freud don't look like you.
None of them look like me. So I was like, this is kind of difficult for me to even understand culturally as well. Like I just had to make myself stay. And, I think.
Yeah. And I think that's like what's part of the struggle as well, right? It's like you kind of feel like you're in it alone. And so like most people have like groups that they form, and then they become like friends. And it's because they have the same interests, they're into the same things, they go to school together, they do this, they do that. But at some point, I feel like Black women, you don't share the same interests as the people that you're in those higher level education courses with.
Yeah.
And so you feel like you're kind of at this by yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't
be isolating.
Yeah, you don't build those same relationships.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of competition in the field? Like, do you feel like people is it cutthroat in the tech industry or the field that you're in, the area?
I mean, I've heard yes, but also I haven't put myself in those positions.
Okay.
Heard some horror stories, but I haven't worked at those companies.
Ooh, tell us. No, I'm just playing.
Well, I mean, it's not even, it's big news. For instance, like, okay, everybody now, like one of the things I was talking about, we're all changing in tech. COVID has brought a major change. Everybody has worked remote for the last 18 months, maybe more. Yeah. So what's the point of going back into the office?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. So now what does Google do? Google slashes your salary.
What?
If you don't want to return to the office.
What?
Yeah. Ooh. So I mean that's big news. That's not even
that's cold.
That's like, what I mean. So it's like, that's cutthroat. If you want to talk about like what's cutthroat, all it's all like that. But and I work for a company and they're like, you can move anywhere, we're not gonna cut your salary.
Right.
See, I think that's dope though, because I mean if that was me right now, I would be like, yo, I'm gonna go buy some property or land in another I'm going to Idaho. I'm going somewhere inland to go buy some property because it's so cheap right now. And I actually know there's a lot of people doing that because I got family, my brothers and sisters in Utah, for example. There's a lot of people made an exodus out of California and are buying up property like crazy. Like they're buying farms left and right.
I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, people have sold 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,000 square feet homes in Portland for almost $500,000.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about 1,000 square feet. You barely have a driveway.
Yeah, you're right. That's my neighborhood. It's like that.
Yeah,
it's
$500,000 for this teeny tiny house, and then they move way out, like East Oregon, whatever. Right. But at the same time, I'm not moving East Oregon.
Right. I mean, it still becomes the issue of isolation.
Yeah.
You gotta, you still got the
my fault.
Hillsborough.
What'd you say?
Is that the Hillsborough area?
Hillsborough area.
Oh no, I'm actually in the Hillsborough area.
Oh, okay,
yeah, it's pretty calm out here. I was talking about like Eastern Oregon. I mean, Eastern Washington. I wouldn't move to Spokane.
Hey, I was born there. I ain't going back though.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like, yeah, it's cheaper, but you still have to do,
Yeah, it's right isolated out there.
Yeah,
it's real racist out there. Like they definitely not as kind as the city folks are when it comes to the high level of just staying within their racistness. I'm making up words. The racistness is higher out there in those areas.
I mean, if things were like all copacetic, I might move to Wyoming. But
right.
Hey, Kanye is there.
Kanye, I checked it out though. I don't want to move where he's at. I was trying to figure out what he did. Like, yeah, it looks nice if you got money like that and some security. But
exactly.
I'm not living with the buffalo and all that.
I mean, I would be down to start a commune with some people who have a whole bunch of skills and they're checking out in many different ways, and it could be diverse, and we can do those things, but how do you vet these people? And I don't know, it's just kind of a difficult thing to figure out how that would even work. But a lot of people are starting communities, like you said, even out here in Florida. People are buying duplexes and fourplexes and having their families all live up on those, but you got to get along. So that still becomes the issue.
Yeah. You got to get along to live in the duplex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, not to that's a whole nother conversation for another day.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, how long we've been recording now? Where are we at on time?
Oh, man, I lost track.
Because Edward could talk for 4 hours without flinching.
Easily. Like, what? It'd be like midnight. Yeah. What time is it over there? So you're on 10:47. Oh, no. Yeah, you're 10:47 right now. Okay.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty late.
Yeah, we talked about tech stuff. I mean, we don't have to talk about that many more subjects, I guess. There was one thing I was thinking about earlier. We talked about homelessness. Oh, I mean, the COVID situation. I mean, the mandates.
The variant.
The variant situation. For me, I've had some conversations with my dad and my mom. My mom actually came to me because I haven't taken the vaccination yet. So it's not that I'm against it per se. I know, but at the same time, I had some situations as a kid. I had asthma growing up, and so I remember the thing you're supposed to take was Primatene Mist back in the days, and I was like, I didn't like the way it made me feel. I was against it. 10 years later, 12 years later, whatever, they talk about how there's a class action suit against it because it caused all this damage or whatever. And I'm like, that happened to me as a kid. I'm like, so it's already ingrained in me a little bit to be kind of little like, hey, I don't know the ramifications. Yeah. However, I do know this is different. I know there are people that are dying. Actually, my sister, I have 10 brothers and sisters. My youngest sister, my dad called me up 2 days ago. She has COVID. Her and her boyfriend, actually, they're in Colorado Springs. So I know it's real. I got other friends that dealt with it, and parents or people have died in their family. So I'm not trying to make it seem like it's like a blasé thing. I know it's an individual thing. I am more pushing towards thinking about it because the research that I'm doing, it seems like it's more contagious. Putting other people's safety. My mom lives in my building now. I'm in my townhouse. So it's kind of like, okay, I have to think about it that way too. Like I go out more than she does. I don't want to bring something back to her because before she moved here, she was with my sister. I saw her like 3 times or 4 times the whole period because I didn't want to you know, I didn't want to bring anything to her. Now she lives in my place, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have to think like that even more. So I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I don't really want to do it, but I'm trying to figure out, you know, I'm trying to work on my health personally, try to do my immune system thing, get more sleep, but I can't. That only does so much. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Because I know, Alvena, you already gone through the situation, so you already have it. Have the vaccination.
Well, yeah, I got the vaccine. I got the Pfizer. You know, definitely something I wasn't really up for. You know, Black people was experimented on, Tuskegee Airmen, all these type of things. We don't trust the government like that. So, you know, I was like, nah, I ain't getting no vaccine. And then I was like, okay, you know, like there's mass graves in New York. That's kind of wild right there. So I think that's something I don't want to be a part of. So let me just go ahead and take this shot. I've taken all my other shots. Why is this one different? So I got my shots, and then and my mother, she went first, but she was one of the folks saying she wasn't going to do it either. And then my brother was also like, well, you know, I'm going to wait it out. I'm going to see, you know, but everybody has their reasons for why they have it or didn't get it, or why they won't, whatever the case might be. And then they opened it up to kids, and my son's going to school. Like, kids go to school in Florida, so he was in school that whole January to whatever, through May, 5 months, and without a vaccine. So I was like, you know, this is concerning, and he's scared. Like, anytime he get a sneeze or a sniffle, and he got allergies, he think this is it. He's like, this is it, Mom. And so, you know, he got his first dose a couple weeks ago, and he's fine. And then we have to get the second one, and then he think he about to be letting his friends up in the house. I'm like, nah, bruh, that's not how this is going down at all. Like, we still got to take safety precautions, because you can still get sick. I don't want to be sick at all. If I could avoid having 100-something fever, even though the chances of me dying are less, because what I understand as far as Florida goes, or, you know, it varies based on where you at, but most of the people who are dying is still like 70% unvaccinated. So the rest who are vaccinated are also, you know, I don't know what the truth is to all this, but this is just for me watching the news. They're the ones who are vaccinated also have serious underlying issues like cancer. So
yeah, I've heard that too. Like, obesity is a big thing too. So
yeah.
I've heard that.
Yeah. So definitely have to work on your health in all standards as much as you possibly can as well, and so that, because it is kind of comes down to the survival of the fittest when it goes down. So I walk 30 minutes a day with my mother and my son, and he'll get his second shot, and I'm still keeping people out the house as much as possible. I have a small bubble, and I'm cool with that anyway, because y'all need to come up in here eating up all my snacks.
Oh, you got snacks?
Of course I got snacks.
What kind of snacks you got?
Well, right now I have some like 30-calorie fruit, the popsicle type deals. No. And then, but I mean, it depends. I got like, you know, the trail mixes and things like that. Mostly on the fruit smoothies with, you put your kale in there and things like that. I'm trying to make sure that I don't get extra big.
So thank you for joining us. We'll do another. I'm sorry. I forgot you guys can hear me as I'm talking here. I'm like trying to.
Yeah. Oh, you're finishing up your live?
You know, we gotta go. I'm gonna go here, but continue this. You'll see us on Motivate Live TV. You'll see Caffeine and Cupcakes, and so thank you all. We'll do this again. Yep. All right, y'all. Bye.
Yeah, you gotta have some snacks around here, but mostly trying to keep it healthy so that we can, because like the amount of inactivity that we have is really high as well. Like, kids was already having a hard time going outside to play, you know, because of all this technology, but now you got COVID on top of things, so people are, you know, there's not a lot of kids outside, and then it's like 100 degrees.
The wildfires. In some places you got the wildfires on top of it, so it's like
can't breathe.
Stay your butt inside and don't do anything but eat.
Yeah, snacks is snacking, just snacking. So we cutting out the majority of the snacking around here, and it's, you know, salmon and organic chicken and things like that, you know. So, but gotta have some popsicles. Get your Crystal Light and put that in your water bottle if you need a sugar fix.
So that's old school. That's hella old school right there. It's like that's Betty White. That's that
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, well, I got that from my mama, so she's definitely in a senior situation. But it works. I mean, I'm trying to learn these tricks of the trade now. I'm not trying to wait till I'm a senior to decide to be healthier, like taking the yellow out of my eggs when I scramble them and getting turkey bacon instead of the real bacon. Yeah.
Oh, I did turkey. I did turkey meatballs. They were dope. Yeah, I normally don't like them, and I was like, man, this is hella good. I think I'm like a chef now.
You gotta do it. Do it. Are you still on the grill?
Yeah, no, because of you. You scared me after death. So I was grilling like, there was 1 week I was grilling like 2 or 3 times that week. And Alvena's like, I don't think that's good. I heard there's like some cancer stuff related to char. And I'm like, yeah, I heard that too. But, I'm still going to grill. And then I ain't really been back on it. I think I did one more time. So she scared me.
Hey. Is that a thing now? Scary.
That's been a thing for like a couple years now, but they're always changing it. So we'll see what's good.
Yeah, I mean, we went mask off, mask on. So
right, mask off, mask on. Like now you got to wear your mask indoors now, whereas like before they were like, we good for like 2 weeks. We didn't need a mask, but now we need them again. So I don't.
It's crazy, man. They had a baseball game here. The Mariners opening day. I drove past there. Ain't no mask on. It was just ridiculous. Yeah.
It's confusing. They shouldn't have never taken off the mask mandate. I mean, really, like when it comes down to it, I know I'm not the first person or the last person to say it, but if we were all on the same page, this whole world, if we were on the same page and communicating well and not just all this division, we'd be out of this mess by now. Like the government should have gotten together and said, everybody stay home for 2 weeks and we wouldn't still be dealing with this mess.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's other things at play. There's other things at play to why there's so much confusion. Because, in confusion, there's money, big money. So if you get people fearful, you get people who's going to control it, who gets to control the vaccination, who gets the money. Chris Rock already said that a long time ago, the whole idea about there's the cure, there's no money in the cure. It's all about the back end, getting booster shots, doing whatever you got to do. And I'm not saying a conspiracy thing because that could be a piece of it. But even with conspiracies or not, there's somebody in control. There's somebody who's making money. And there's things that are happening politically that we don't understand why it's happening because it should be that simple. Like, hey, we're all on the same page. We're all humans, right? And we could spread this to each other. Exactly. It's like, they're like, no. Why is there only 3 companies that get a chance to give the vaccinations? And,
Big Pharma.
That's all. Yep.
Big Pharma. Big Pharma controls the politicians.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Big Pharma is why you see all the homeless stacked up outside.
Yep. See? Oh, yeah, you about to go on something else. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't say Big Pharma 3 times. They might show up. Man.
Right? Let me stop.
We're like, dang, Jazz, they done drug you
Shut us down. They shut us down.
Y'all be like, what happened to Jazz? She said it 3 times, y'all.
Yeah, right.
Like Bloody Mary.
Yeah, exactly. Right? I still won't do that.
Man.
Yeah.
It's not even a game no more. It's real. But I mean, I guess we hit about an hour, y'all. I brought us in, so I guess I should bring us out. Yeah, we a little bit. Yeah, we definitely hit the hour because we started about 6:40 y'all time, which is extremely late my time. So I need to go and do some other things. But love y'all. Peace. Hair grease. Hair grease. All the good things. We want to thank Jazz Scott for coming and joining us today and telling us a little bit about women in the tech and the Black out there. Out there in Oregon. Edward's tapping in from the Washington State, and I'm tapping in from Florida. So we're doing big things out here. Let us know if there's anything else you want to hear us talk about. Today we covered technology and COVID and being Black, education and corporate America, and how we can make these things continue to progress. We always want to know how to grow and learn together.
Yes. Thank you very much, Jazz. I do have some things to follow up with because I do have something that I'm working on that I would like to incorporate as many Black people in their different spaces to accommodate things for us and also for kids. And then also just from a platform standpoint, like I think every Black person should have their own platform. I think every Black person needs to have access outside of their job to opportunities, because we're not defined by the job we have. Really, it's about the brand, who you are. Like your company hired you for a reason because you have a skill set, and then our community would really lean upon you because you're an expert in our field and you look like us. So that's another level of expertise and just a higher level being who you really are versus the job you work. You're actually a person that is in high demand inside of our community, outside of our community. So anyways, I just want to add that part. And then for y'all, we'll be doing this TikTok thing. We're trying to learn the technology. We're trying to figure it all out, incorporate. I had other people ask me questions too about topics. And so we're going to start being a lot more inclusive, and then, have fun with it and learn.
Yeah.
Thank you, y'all.
It's good. Good night, y'all. I'm happy.
All right.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. So here we go again. I figured it out. Peace.
If you want to free your mind and have that positive energy, you'll find it's a place that's full of joy. Because we laugh and have fun, and we learn how to stay healthy. If you want to keep your energy high, tune in to caffeine.